The winds may shake the branches, but they cannot move the roots. Be like Lord Rama. Let the world test your strength, but never let it touch your peace. It doesn't matter what family you are born into or where you come from. What makes you a truly great person is being kind and having good qualities. Never give up hope if you wait patiently and keep believing. Even a cold, hard stone can feel like it has life. Having a strong, steady heart and believing in yourself is the sacred key to being happy and free. Hello, dear friends. Greetings to everyone listening. We have a very special message to share with you today. The most important lesson of the story is this: no matter how big mistakes someone makes, they can always find their way back. If a person is truly sorry in their heart and tries their best to do good things, they can find peace and happiness again. So now get ready to a story of Ahalya Moksham. Now let us get our hearts ready for a wonderful story that feels like a cool, refreshing rain. It is a story filled with kindness and doing what is right. Let us go back to where we left off and get ready to hear the next part of the amazing story of Ramayana or Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. My dear viewers, now again we are ready to travel back into the world of Ramayana. Every chapter of Ramayana teaches us about human mistakes, the feeling of regret, and finally the salvation we receive through God's grace. In the last episodes, we saw that young Rama leaving with sage Vishwamitra to protect his sacred rituals. Now, the story of Ahalya. We are discussing one of the most touching chapters in Ramayana, Ahalya Moksham, the liberation of Ahalya. This is the story of a woman who waited for ages as a silent stone without knowing the changes in the world around her. She waited with a mind full of prayers for Lord Rama. How does the touch of God's feet purify a soul burdened by sin? How does a stone come back to a life? Let us look into those rare moments where the Prince of Ayodhya becomes the savior of the world. Ahalya Moksham is one of the most emotional series of stories of Ramayana. It beautifully describes ideas of sin and virtue, the power of waiting, and forgiveness received through divine grace. So, this story appears in the Balakanta of Vatmiki Ramayana. We can break the story down into several stages. That is, the main stages of the stories are the birth of Ahalya and sage Gautama, the deception of Indra, the curse of sage Gautama, the release from the curse, the arrival of Sri Rama, and the reunion. So, the deserted ashram. After protecting the sacred ritual, Rama and Lakshmana were traveling toward Mithila with sage Vishwamitra. Along the way, Rama noticed an old ashram. It was uninhabited, yet it had a strange divine glow. However, there were no birds singing and no flowers blooming on the trees. Curious about the lonely place, Rama humbly asked the sage, his Guru, whose threshold is this that feels so heavy with silence? The very air here seems to hold its breath. Shwamitra Maharshi replied, Rama, observe closely. The stillness is not empty. It is a story waiting to be awakened. The creation of Ahalya. Ahalya was not born from a normal womb. Brahma, the creator of the universe, gathered all the goodness and beauty in his possession and created her through his mind. Because of this, she is known as Ayonija, one who was not born through a physical union. The marriage of Gautama and Ahilya. When Lord Brahma used all his divine arts to create Ahilya, both the gods and the demons were enchanted by her beauty. Even Indra, the king of the gods, who possessed even every luxury, wanted to marry her. To decide who was worthy, Brahma set a challenge. Whoever circles the entire earth first and returns shall be given Ahalya's hand in marriage, he announced. Hearing this, Indra immediately set off on his lightning fast vehicle to race around the world. However, sage Gautama acted with a blend of practical wisdom and devotion. Instead of racing across the globe, he stayed at his own ashram and devotedly circled a Kamadhenu, a divine cow that was about to give birth a baby. According to the ancient scriptures, circling a cow at the time of birth is considered spiritually equal to circling the entire earth. Pleased by Gautama's deep knowledge and his adherence to Dharma, righteousness, Brahma married Ahalya to him. This was the beginning of their life together. The marriage teaches us that spiritual wisdom is more valuable than physical speed. So now about Gautama, husband of Ahalya. Gautama was born into a lineage of sage Angiras, the son of Brahma. He is known as Drishta, that is the seer or creator of many songs found in the Rig Veda. According to the Puranas, specifically Brahma Purana, it was the sage Gautama who brought Godavari river, also known as Dakshin Ganga, down to earth. So the ashram, this is about the ashram of Gautama. After the marriage, Gautama and Ahalya began their life together in a peaceful forest near the banks of the Ganga. This place, located near Mithila, was known as Gautama Ashrama. It was not just a simple house, it was like a heaven on earth. Every morning, the ashram woke up not just to the chirping of birds, but to the sacred sounds of Vedic chants flowing from sage Gautama's lips. The forest was said to be more beautiful than the celestial gardens of heaven. Ahalya's holy presence turned the entire forest into a place of pilgrimage. So the divine harmony of the ashram, stepping into that soil brought a special kind of peace to the mind. The cool breeze from the holy Ganga always embraced the ashram. Birds and animals roamed without any fear. It was a place so filled with ahimsa that lions and deer would drink water from the same pond together. Because of the sage spiritual power, the entire area glowed with a divine light. The air was always filled with the scent of the sacred fire, Homa, and the echoing chants of Vedas. Ahalya shone like the goddess of that forest. Every morning at the auspicious Brahmaputra, the pre-dawn hours, Brahma Muhurta, the pre-dawn hours, she would bathe in the Ganga, standing with her damp hair, holding flowers and sacred grass for the rituals. She was a perfect image of devotion and beauty. When the sage was deep in meditation, she had the power to make even nature fall silent so as not to disturb his penance. She served guests food that tasted like nectar. She cared for the plants in the ashram as if they were her own children, turning the forest into a beautiful garden. In that simple hut, without any wealth or power, they lived a life of mutual respect and spiritual unity. It was a life more prosperous and blessed than that of any royal palace. The ideal life of the couple in the ashrama. When the wisdom of the husband and the devotion of the wife came together, that ashrama became a holy center that brought peace to the entire world. Sage Gautama and Ahalya lived there as the ideal couple. Their, their very life was a form of meditation. Dawn, Gautama would bathe in the Ganga, pray to the sun god, and begin his penance. Ahalya, with great joy, provided everything he needed for his spiritual practice. Ahalya welcomed the sages and yogis who visited the ashram with deep devotion. More than her physical beauty, it was the purity of her character that made her lamp of the ashram. If Gautama was the light of knowledge, Ahalya was the soothing coolness surrounding that light. Their marriage was as sacred as the fire in a yagashala. The life of sage Gautama and Ahalya was a rare blend of devotion and natural beauty. On that particular day, as usual, sage Gautama woke up during the Brahma Muhurta. The birds were just beginning to flutter their wings. The cold and silence of the night still lingered in the air. Ahalya, as she always did, woke up and made the necessary arrangements for the sage's morning bath. Carrying his kamandalu and darbha, the sage walked towards the banks of Ganga. As he walked along the usual path, while nature itself remained silent, fate arrived at the courtyard in the ashram in the form of a trick. The moment sage left, Lord Indra arrived at the ashram gate disguised exactly like Sage Vishwamitra, Sage Gautam. His clothes, his face, and even his voice were identical. Ahalya was surprised for a moment. Had the sage returned from his bath so quickly? Believing completely that the man standing before her was her husband, Ahalya failed to see through the illusion. Meanwhile, the real sage Gautama finished his morning rituals in the Ganga and returned to the ashram. To his shock, he saw Indra dressed exactly like himself, walking out of the house. Before the sage, whose spiritual power glowed like the sun, Indra's magic fell apart. Seeing the deception that had cast a shadow over his wife's purity, the sage lost his patience. Fire flashed from his eyes in anger, realizing that his sacred home had been defiled and his wife had been wronged. He first cursed Indra. Then he rushed towards Ahalya, who was standing inside the ashram, trembling with fear. Returning with the body purified by the holy Ganga and glow of the meditation, Gautama saw the stain of betrayal in his own backyard. For a moment, his eyes turned bright red. Looking at the terrified Ahalya, the sage let out his curse in a voice that sounded like a crash of thunder. O foolish one, you failed to use your wisdom to recognize the one who came in my form. In the sacred ashram, you have become the cause of unrighteousness, adharma. Was it not this beauty of yours that enchanted the world? Then let this beautiful form of yours vanish. He sprinkled the holy Ganga water on the ground and continued sternly, stay here as a stone, feeding only on air, covered in ash, and hidden from the eyes of everyone. You shall go penance here, enduring the sun and the rain. The moment sage Gautama cursed his wife, is one of the most emotional parts of the Ramayana. In these words, we see the fierce power of his meditation and the raw anger of a betrayed husband. In an instant, the ashrama that was once filled with love and devotion was covered in darkness. Because of Indra's lust and Gautama's anger, Ahalya's life, which had bloomed like a flower, turned into cold stone. However, when Gautama saw Ahalya's tears and her broken heart, his anger melted away and he felt pity. He gave her a way to be free, a moksham. This curse is not forever. After ages, Lord Rama, the son of Dasharatha, will come to this forest. The moment the dust from his holy feet touches you, you will be purified. You will get your old form back. This is the story by Vishwamitra explaining to Rama. Vishwamitra looked at Rama and said, "My dear Rama, look, the holy moment that nature and time have been waiting for ages has finally arrived. Go into the ashrama to end the long wait of that poor woman who has been frozen as a stone, unable to utter a single word. My son, enter that ashrama and lead that soul purified by years of hard penance to the shores of salvation." Following Guru's command, Rama stepped into the ashram courtyard. As his feet touched the that holy soil that had been covered in dust for ages, a miracle happened. Just like the sun rising after dark clouds move away, Ahalya rose from the ashes in her divine form. The sorrow she had held back for years flowed out as tears of joy, realizing that the person standing before her was Lord Narayana himself. She bowed at Rama's feet with deep devotion. The moment Rama's feet touched her, the stone form vanished, and Ahalya appeared with her old radiance. She saw Lord Mahavishnu right in front of her. Falling at Sri Ramachandra's feet, she began to pray and praise him. This prayer is the famous Ahalya Stuti, page 15 of Adhyatma Ramayana. Its meaning goes like this: Jagannatha, I have become truly blessed and fulfilled. It is not just because I was able to see you. The spiritual experience and the grace I have received through this vision are beyond what words can describe. So, this chapter of Ramayana serves as a powerful reminder of three things. Number one, the weight of mistakes. How one moment of lost wisdom can lead to a long suffering. Number two, the power of penance. Ahalya's long wait as a stone symbolizes a mind purifying itself through patience and prayer. Number three, divine grace. No matter how heavy the stone of our past mistake feels, the touch of the divine can bring us back to life and purity. In this message, touch the stone within you. Please share it with another soul waiting for the light. Join our journey into the Ramayana. In our next part, we travel to Mithila to witness the moment where earth meets heaven. Prepare your hearts for the Sita Swayamvaram, the divine union that would change the course of the universe forever. Stay tuned The melody of the bow is about to begin. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.